I feel like we've asked the slow start question so many times, but I mean, obviously there's an energy level, there's a leadership level. Why doesn't that translate to playing with the same sense of urgency in the first quarter as they obviously show once they're down?
I mean, it's something we're trying to figure out. And I think football is a game of momentum. And when you go back and look through the first 15 plays, I mean, it was like boom, boom. They scored, and it was 14-0, 21-0. But when you look within those first 15 plays, there was 3 or 4 plays where we just weren't clean. Example was the first third down. We had a little adjustment, a little check that we wanted to make based on what we saw. And it just didn't get communicated, cleanly or quickly enough. So in that situation, if we do that, it's third down, we get off the field, the entire game's different. So it's like little things like that are happening. So I always, from my standpoint as a coach, I always look at what am I doing? How can I make it cleaner for those guys to where when we get in these situations that the execution is better. And that's what we're all doing as coaches. That's what they're doing as players. We gotta find a way to just start better.
How much of that feels scheme and plan and that kind of stuff to you? I know Colin Saunders mentioned something about pre-planning for what they're going to throw at us. I think DA mentioned that a month ago, the first 15 script, being ready for what we're going to see. Like, how much is that, and how much is guys just not playing as well in those situations that they later play?
Yeah, well, I'll take the words DA always uses. We don't have a contract with them, so we don't know what they're going to do. Normally within the game early, you see some plays that maybe you didn't see on tape. Some unscouted looks. So for us, you have to just rely on your rules. You have to rely on your rules. You have to rely on your technique to make those plays. So it's something you're going to have to deal with every week. And from us, from a scheme standpoint, we don't get real creative with what we're doing. We may tweak things differently based on what teams do. But again, it's just for us a push just to be cleaner technically early in the game.
I mentioned that there was an adjustment that didn't get properly communicated.
Yeah.
What's the usual sort of chain of communication in order to make sure that adjustment is?
Well, it depends on what the adjustment is. But normally it's going to be second level to first level. Sometimes it's the secondary to the second level to defense. Depends on exactly what it is. But the big thing is a defense you want to communicate, right? You want guys talking based on what they're seeing. And again, early in the game, you're going, the adrenaline's going. We just, like I said, we just have to be a little bit more relaxed, make sure that we execute the things that we've seen during the week. And again, we were just a little bit late with making that adjustment.
Are the slow starts the main reason you guys have maybe taken a little bit of a step back here the last few weeks, or are there other areas as well?
Well, that's what it feels like. We get behind, and then we get in the dogfight, and we fight back, and then we fall short. You always look back. If we could have made 1 or 2 plays here, we wouldn't have been in that situation where we're down by a couple of touchdowns, and the game would be different. So again, it's just we all know it, coaches, players. We're working on it. We just have to be better.
Sam Jordan's been a little bit banged up. Oski's now hurt. Your Paul left. Like, where do you kind of see the pass rush at this point?
It's just NFL. You're going to go through injuries. It's always the next man up mentality. I feel like we have capable players in multiple positions up front. So, like I said, we'll put a good plan together for them, just in terms of what we're going to do with the pass rush games, what we're going to do with our pressures. But I feel totally comfortable with the guys we have playing.
You had so many replacement guys in this last game. Was there anyone who particularly graded out well and really stepped up to that?
I'm just trying to think back to, anything the coach has said. I'm really concerned about my position and what's going on there. But not anything off the top of my head I can tell you. I'd be making it up if I said so.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate the
Is Carl Granderson getting more attention from opponents recently because he had such a big start to the season?
I mean, it feels like it, just in terms of some of the protection things that we're getting. He's a guy that plays with his hair on fire, 100 miles an hour all the time. He's really good for us just in terms of what we can do pass rush standpoint. But I feel like he is getting a little more attention with the protections.
Is Cam going to have to follow a reduced snap count schedule until that ankle fully heals?
Yeah, he's been doing it a long time. So he knows how to handle his body. He knows where he's at physically. So that's something that will work out as we continue through the week, just in terms of what his snap count is. Like I said, for him just going out there playing was really like a miracle. Didn't think he was going to play. He went out there and played. So I anticipate he'll play a little bit more this week.
Joe, Carolina's still struggling on offense. Have you seen some strides from ourselves from week 2 to now?
Yeah, I think for them, like obviously they're going through some things, within their organization, within their team. I think it's probably a focus for them to get the quarterback going. So I felt like if you look at this last game, they ran the ball a little bit more. Going back when we played him, he was a lot more mobile in the pocket than we thought. So you still see him keeping plays alive. You see them doing more things, getting them on the perimeter with bootlegs, some play action where they can protect him a little bit better, or they'll just spread out the formation, so he can ID things, get rid of the ball faster. So I feel like offensively, they're kind of putting him in a position where they feel like he can have success and protect him a little bit better.
Joe, Zach Long had some reps
Mhm.
like on the edge. Something we saw him do a lot in college.
Yep.
Not necessarily as much in the pros. So
Yep.
kind of went into that decision and how do you think he did that?
Yeah, he has versatility, and when you have a guy like that, there's a lot of things you can do from a game plan standpoint in terms of pass rush, in terms of things you can do in coverage, because he's a linebacker. So there's some things that we build in for him for that reason. That's one of his strengths. So, but he does a good. He had to rush off the edge. He does a good job when we put him in those positions.
And then Paulson Adebo, he's getting a bunch of Pro Bowl work right now. And just kind of curious what you thought of his season.
I think he's playing really well. I think he's challenging receivers. I think he's taking advantage of his opportunities. And that's the only thing I ever ask him is just, do your job and make the plays you're supposed to make. And he's been in position. He's taken away the ball for us. But I think he's having a really good season.
Not having Marcus for the next 4 games and being on IR, just kind of talk about confidence level in Jordan and Lonnie maybe to fill and step up in that role.
Yeah, definitely have confidence. I mean, it's unfortunate for Marcus, obviously. He's one of the leaders in the room for us. But we have capable players in the back end. We have guys that have played throughout the season, with Jordan and Lonnie. We have Jonathan Abram as well. So all those guys, they're ready to play. We're rotating them in practice. And we feel comfortable playing those guys in multiple positions in the secondary.
Tyrann was nominated as the club's Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee, and I imagine a veteran like him in a season that's kind of had its ups and its downs is really important. Can you speak a little bit just to the importance of this?
Yeah, just having him in the room is just a sense of calm for us. And I remember I went on a pro day way back. I was in Minnesota, and I went down to LSU, and I took him out to Outback Steakhouse. So, he remembers it. I remember it, man. But this from where he's come from, when he was a player at LSU, to everything he's done in the NFL, you need pros like that on your team, especially, in tough situations, because those are the guys that the younger guys will look up to. Those are the guys, when they speak, it means something. So just being around him and having him and just the calmness that he creates in our room has been great for me.
You couldn't find anything more exotic than Outback in that room?
I was on a limited budget.
Do you remember the name of the restaurant from, do you have that kind of memory with prospects, or was the Tyrann dinner a special one?
It was just him, because he was such a unique player, coming out of college, the honey badger, all that stuff that was going on with him. He's one of the hottest players in, college football. So I was down there like, man, I could take this guy out to dinner, stuff like that. So it was just one of those things I remember.
Landon at dinner with him was probably like a coup, right?
What's that?
I said Landon getting to be the one to have the dinner.
Yeah.
That was probably a coup, right?
Yeah, it was exciting for me,
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Let's get this one.